Welcome back to Synergy Bonus. A bunch of guys that like to sit around and talk about games while drinking. And drink and talk about games. God damn it. What are we drinking tonight, Spoon?
We are drinking from Willow Creek Winery. What is this, Chautauqua chocolate?
Chautauqua chocolate.
It's a local
favorite.
10%
ABV. It's it's milk chocolate and a red, very Concord-based wine. It's
not as good as the Chocolate Temptations, but it's still pretty tasty.
It's subjective. I prefer this one.
Oh. But in
nice creamy mouthfeel.
In spirit of
spirits
of
some good
drinking some wine.
Some good legs on there too.
We are talking about. What are you talking about?
Bloodstained, Curse of the Murder Boner. I mean Moon.
Yeah.
We'll get into why that's funny later.
Yeah.
We're actually up to date on something for a change. Despite the retro look of this game, it was only released on May 24th of 2018.
I'm scared too.
From Inti Creates.
It was a Kickstarter stretch goal from Koji Igarashi for the Bloodstained. I almost said
Ritual of the Night.
I almost said Curse of the Moon.
And if Koji Igarashi sounds familiar to you, that's because he's basically the father of the Metroidvania style of side-scrolling platformers, going all the way back to, what was it, Curse of the Moon?
Castlevania Symphony of the
Night. Curse of the Moon. Jesus Christ.
It did follow it, though.
Yeah. Circle of the Moon was the one I was thinking.
Curse of the Moon is what we're talking about today.
I swear this is my first one.
You say that.
His first wine.
Guys.
But yes, it was a Kickstarter stretch goal for a classic style prequel game, retro game. And
give me a little background on how Bloodstained came to be and why Koji's no longer with Pachinko making motherfuckers.
Well, that's exactly
because they're Pachinko making fuckers.
He left and he did a Kickstarter, I think, back in 2015 for.
I thought it was longer than that.
I almost said Castlevania. For Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, a spiritual successor to the Castlevania games, because this is what he wanted to make. He was told that there was no demand for these sort of games anymore, but he's like, screw it, I'm coming to Kickstarter, let's do it. And it was funded.
No markets.
And for the past few years before that, he had been making mobile games and Tokimeki memorials. Dating sims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though the Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is not out yet, it's been out in demo form with E3 demos. If you were a Kickstarter backer, you got access to this. I've played it. It's enjoyable. I can't wait to see the final version. And I kind of forgot that this stretch goal was a thing for this retro style game. And I got an email, hey, make sure you update your survey to pick out your retro, what system you want your retro game. I'm like, retro game? What is this? And then they had a trailer for it. I'm like, this looks cool. And it's like, oh, it comes out next week. So they don't have a code for me for my system of choice. So they gave me a temporary Steam key. And which is great because I've beaten this game left and right on Steam.
So speaking of Steam, what systems is this out on?
Steam, Xbox One, PS4, the Switch, the 3DS. The Vita, I believe, as well. Like, you can play it.
This is everywhere. You have to be trying not to have it.
And because it's available everywhere, I'm just going to say this right now. By the time we're done speaking on this, you just go out and buy it. If you haven't already.
$10.99 on the Nintendo eShop.
Is it $10.99? Mm-hmm. Oh, good.
Yeah.
So it'd be the same amount for Steam or whatever. Well,
hopefully.
Whatever
the weird conversion rate is for like Microsoft points.
Well, as we said, this is a retro style game.
8-bit.
8-bit.
Based on Castlevania 3.
Well, I'm going to amend that. It's like Shovel Knight where it looks 8-bit, but it does things the old 8-bit systems couldn't do with the scrolling and the layers.
And it definitely has a Shovel Knight vibe with the way some of the enemies and stuff are designed. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. As Greg was mentioning there, it's based off of kind of Castlevania 3 where you have, unlike Castlevania 3 where you had Trevor and one other spirit, whether it be Grant, Cypher, or Alucard, this, you get 3 other characters along with your main protagonist, Zangetsu. And you get to switch out between all of them as you go.
Alfred the Alchemist,
Miriam
the Shard.
Miriam the Not Belmont, and Not
Not
Alucard.
Alucard.
As,
Starts with a G.
Gebbles?
Gebble.
Sounds like a Pokemon, doesn't it? Gebble,
A little bit.
Gebble.
And
Gebble, double,
they all have their own strengths and weaknesses. The Alchemist has strong magic. His life bar is real tiny.
Squishy wizard syndrome.
Miriam can slide and do a high jump, plus she has reach.
However, her attack is very slow.
Yep.
Slow but powerful.
Gebel, they're the Alucard clone.
He's Alucard. He shoots three
He
bats.
shoots three bats, he turns into a bat. And then Zangetsu, they're your main protagonist, has a sword, which is kind of nice.
Very short range.
Demon-slaying swordsman. Yeah.
Very short range, but he can attack very quickly.
And each of the characters have extra sub-weapons with the exception of Gebel, who turns into a bat.
And they're character-specific.
Character-specific. Zangetsu has a whip, which only hits at a diagonal. He has a talisman, which he throws on the ground and burns, and it like holy water from your Castlevanias. And then he has this.
It looks like the amulet you would use in some Castlevania games, where it kills all the enemies on the screen.
And it basically makes you go Kaioken and gives you a murder
in this
boner.
purple fire. Wreathed in this purple fire.
It reminds me actually of Richter's power-up move from Rondo of Blood when you don't have a special weapon, where he turns the vampire killer whip on fire and he does more damage.
Hydro Storm.
Yeah, and it does extra damage. Miriam, she gets a dagger, 3 daggers, a scythe, which is like a boomerang, and a giant axe to smash things. Yep. The Alchemist.
And I love her sprite because that's clearly what happens when a Belmont has a drunken one night with a drain eye.
Yeah. Our Alchemist friend has a fire shield and a mirror body, which if you've ever played Ninja Gaiden 2, you have like these like little shadow warriors with you. Same concept here. And what else he gets? He gets
big ice shot.
An ice shot, which very much like Sypha, you freeze stuff, you break it.
Bouncing electric beam.
And the bouncing electric beam.
And occasionally he cleans up after Bruce Wayne.
Alfred. And Gebel just transforms into a bat, but as a bat, he can attack. He can do like a little forward charge.
He's also your number one exploration guy.
Yeah.
Because the bat form is small, it can get into weird spaces, he can fly up to platforms you couldn't otherwise reach, he can fly down under platforms you couldn't otherwise reach. He's, if you've got quick fingers on changing characters, he's a great oh shit I'm falling character.
Yes.
Saved my ass more than once.
The only downside I'd say to this is the length of the game. There are, how many stages?
5?
6 stages. And it takes about an hour and a half to complete. And there's multiple paths.
If you're speed running, if you're exploring like I am.
Through the stage.
Or if you're taking the hard route, like me, it will take a while.
And the thing is this game offers multiple
endings and multiple playthroughs. Because this was something really nice that I like that they did. If you beat the normal game on the normal playthrough, and you do the nice guy thing of rescuing everybody, it unlocks Nightmare Mode, where you get to go through it again.
It's a continuation of the
story.
It's basically Julius mode from Dawn of Ruin.
Dawn of Sorrow. And you get those characters already there with the exception of Zangetsu.
Which opens up some more paths and gives you more exploration and makes the game a little different.
Yeah, as you're going through, you'll notice sections that are inaccessible. And also as you're going through, you'll see fallen warriors kind of pointing the way to the quickest path for you.
They'll point to the shortest route. They almost always point you away from where the power-ups are.
And actually, a little bit before we actually started recording this, Greg was playing through, and we discovered something we didn't know about, because we've been playing this for the last few days.
I just walked past the person after I beat the boss, because they're standing there like, hey, let me join your party. And I was like, hi, bye. I kept walking.
And then he was solo playing through.
And it was actually really freaking hard.
Yeah.
And doing a little more research, we found out that you can actually just kill the people there.
And unlock powers.
Mega
Man style.
And actually there are 3, not counting Nightmare Mode or Ultimate Mode, which are unlockables, there's 3 endings depending on
how many people you let live, how many people you recruit, how many people you just walk past.
How bad your murder boners were raging that day.
Yes, and I'll tell you.
Why don't you just go into detail about that? Give us every bulging, veiny
Jesus.
It's gonna be messy. I don't want to clean this up.
So after I saw Greg walk by, I'm like, okay, and I read that you can kill people. I'm like, let me go back and try this. So Miriam comes right down there. It's like she's ready to talk to me, and I'm just stab, stab, stab. She bleeds. She dies. Oh,
I was expecting her to die in one hit. No, he had to actually murder her.
Yeah, you have to be very deliberate. There's no accidental killings.
And it's like, oh, you absorbed her power. What power she gets? Oh, this crescent slash. So now I'm a little more mobile with this sword and just going through killing everything. And then we said that there was that one power up that basically is Kaioken, which makes you even more deadly. And I started to just kind of blow through the stages as quick as I could, just killing everything, making sure that I killed everything in my path to get to the alchemist, the next person, to kill him and see what his power was.
I'm sitting next to him on the couch, just watching
Giving him
barely
anxiety.
make these jumps and get
'Cause
swung
I'm
by
just
enemies as he's
I'm just overzealous and just going along.
It's like
And-
when I was playing and you were watching me.
Yeah, that was
I'm an
giving
old
me-
man with a love of fried foods. You can't do that to my heart.
And, you know, we should touch on the stage design a little bit going into that, like the platforming and everything. Everything is very deliberate. We did mention that there was extra paths, but everything feels good and right, and it's kind of your own fault.
Let's go into, as
If
part
you
of,
die.
part of stage design, the controls on this.
Tight.
The controls are super tight, but
They
You got the
handle
bell
like
nut
an
knees.
old-
they're Castlevania controls. There's that deliberate delay between when you push the button and when the character attacks. It's difficult to jump. You have to be pushing a direction before you jump, otherwise you just jump straight up. All of those standard things from the old original trilogy of Castlevania games that were deliberately put in there to make you
Spend coins.
Think about
spend
what
coins.
you're
Think
doing.
about what you're going to do. Slow down, not have your crazy murder hobo run.
Now, there's a feature they added to this that Greg and I both enjoy, is the ability to jump on stairs. That didn't come about until
say
Dracula
that's-
X Rondo of Blood.
Yeah.
Those two games in particular. Actually,
But you still can't
Castlevania
jump-
4 as well.
Yeah,
Still
Super
can't jump
Castlevania.
off of
You can't jump off the stairs. In Rondo of
And
Blood, you could.
the number one most deadly monster from Castlevania 3 makes its return.
Fucking Medusa heads.
No. Walking off stairs instead of going down. You can
I
just
never-
fall off the edge and die like that.
I haven't been killed by that, so I don't know
haven't been
what's
killed
wrong
by
with
that.
you.
I lost more lives to that. Usually when I was like falling from way up and hit a platform, then I'd walk forward and he'd just walk off instead of going down the stairs.
I don't know what's wrong with him either. And that's coming from me.
Well,
Come on, it's a freaking trope. How do you not know about deadly stairs?
anyways,
I have scars from stairs.
And
They're not
elevators.
deadly.
And elevators too, as I recall from Warcraft.
Oh, yeah.
the
That's a deadly elevator.
the
Never
stages are very wonderfully designed, as we were just saying there.
It's all emphasizing the journey too.
The journey, yes. Passage of time, as Trav mentioned to
the
us
moon
earlier.
goes through its phases.
Phases.
Yep.
The
But like
first stage is a
Ghost Train.
ghost train, and the most cinematic experience on that train is like actually when you get on the train and get onto the top, you see this castle in the background, illuminated, this forest.
Big old
Totally not
crescent
Castlevania.
Big old crescent moon. Totally not, Circle of the Moon or any of that. Rondo of Blood
But-
is the crescent moon as well, I think.
Yeah, it's
Except
It's
the
very-
night had a full moon.
very nice, and I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
You just running up the train. It's beautiful.
The bosses are large and detailed.
Colorful. Yep.
Telegraph their moves like a Castlevania boss should.
Yep.
My favorite boss, the third boss in the game, it's this almost like a riverboat gambler.
We're gonna have to look up the names for these things.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nope,
not all
that's
of
what
them-
his name was. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, not all of them embrace the journey. Like the second stage, Frozen Hell, you're going through. It's a split between like weird jungle and frozen icy caves.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to go to the jungle because, I was doing solo.
Yeah, he didn't have the high jump to get
He
there.
only had some of the jungle.
And it's weird, but I guess it's still you're traversing the forest, whatever.
And the
It's
mountain
desert
range.
pyramid stage.
Which has fire and that.
And it's
then,
very much the
and then
fire
your
and
boss is that gambler with the coins and everything.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. And then
The
we get
top-
back to the traveling thing with the ghost ship.
The ghost ship and the tower.
Multiple towers, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. And the sound to the game.
It dances back and forth between sounding very traditionally Castlevania and sounding kind of Mega Man X-y. I love
I'm
it.
okay with that, though.
Yeah, it just works.
It works very well, and as I mentioned earlier, I played the Kickstarter backer demo for Ritual of the Night, and the ghost ship from this is in there, the same music, except the music on Curse of the Moon is 8-bit, and
8-bit MIDI,
it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's got that wonderful old feel. I feel like we're back in the glory days of the NES.
I
And SNES.
cannot recommend this game enough.
No.
It in my opinion, it's killed Castlevania.
I'm very scared.
Konami killed Castlevania.
Yeah.
Correct yourself.
Right. Konami killed Castlevania. This put the nail in the coffin.
And Metal
Konami's like, look, Lords of Shadow didn't sell. Nobody wants Castlevania anymore.
You know what people want? Pachinko games.
And dating sims.
Right. But it's a breath of fresh air, and it's much needed in the industry nowadays.
Yeah, just the side-scrolling platformer 2D is much needed in the industry these days. I think the big selling point, nostalgia factor notwithstanding, is that it doesn't look like anything else that's out there right now, except Shovel Knight. I can't think of anything else other than those two that really is out there right now that really fits this type.
Blaster Master.
How far are we going out right now? Because I can think of a couple
in the last
4
couple
years.
I'd
years.
say like as far back as 2015.
Mercenary Kings, Rogue Legacy.
Oh, Rogue Legacy, yeah. But again, it was a short list. You just, I could give you, a dozen Call of Duty clones, or a dozen Halo clones, or how many Grand Theft Auto clones, or
Right.
Resident Evil clones.
I'm going to put this out here right now. There's a couple companies. WayForward's one of them, but they didn't work on this game. Another one is Inti Creates, and Inti Creates
does a lot of good work.
has been doing a phenomenal job with retro 2D style games.
Yacht Club games.
Yacht Club games, yes. And I know that they've worked with each other too.
They're really trying to save gaming as a hobby.
They really are.
No, specifically, they're appealing to a demographic that's kind of fallen by the wayside in the gaming
The original
industry.
gamers who made the industry.
Yeah. We are now tertiary demographic, and we're no longer of interest because we're not going to shell out money for every Call of Duty clone and all the map packs, all of the pre-order bonuses. But hey,
We're
you
not
throw out an
broke.
old Castlevania style game, we're on it.
We're not pro gamers, basically.
And the thing is, this game has high replayability. It's enjoyable. It's
difficult.
on the short side. It's difficult.
Depending
where it
on the
needs to be.
choices you make, it can be difficult. If you recruit all of the recruitable characters, it becomes very, very easy. I breezed through most of it without. I didn't see the game over screen until these two started killing off the recruitable characters.
If you embrace your inner murder boner, it's not that difficult either. But if you're going, screw this, I don't need friends.
Lone Wolf,
It's a
I
little-
don't need friends, but I'm not going to kill them.
It's a little harder. Buy this game. Just
I spent an hour on stage 2.
Yeah.
absolutely buy this game.
Yeah,
Show that there's interest.
Stage 2 looked like Karate Kid levels of hard.
A little bit. But please go out and buy this game. Show that there's interest, and it's a treat to yourself. If you've never played this style of game before, treat yourself. Play this game.
And also,
You did play this style when you were a kid.
Treat yourself.
Also, if you're like me and you backed Bloodstained Ritual of the Night and you just haven't been following it, you might have a free copy of this.
Check your Kickstarter survey page.
And also, to my
And it
knowledge,
has your download codes.
it's DRM free.
I don't know about that for a fact, but we can let you know in the description below if it's
He'll
DRM
correct
free
me
or
if I'm
not.
wrong. We'll see. Oh, okay.
But please buy this game. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Oh, yeah.
It's hands down one of the best games I've played in a long time.
Best game I played since Shovel Knight.
Exactly. So, with that, good night.
Good gaming. Hey guys, Vigorex here. If you like what you heard, go ahead and give us a little thumbs up with the like icon down below.
Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a comment.
Alternatively, you can comment, like, and share our videos on Facebook, BitChute, and Minds.com.
And if you want to watch a different video, click over here.
And always, as always, good night and good game.